Greetings, my friends. It is I, Carlton Flowers, your Crypto Pro.
Yay!
And we are going to look at this Bitcoin chart this afternoon and kind of give a little insight. I'm going to share my opinion of what I'm seeing here. Right now, there's a lot of clamoring going on about Bitcoin tearing off and making some new highs, and that everything is turning around and then the market is supposedly headed for blue skies, champagne wishes and caviar dreams. And as usual, I think that people jump the gun. For the immediate, I am in a watch and hold. I am not buying anything or selling anything. Now, as you know, I don't buy much Bitcoin anyway. I only use Bitcoin as the determining factor on whether or not I should be accumulating altcoins or selling, because Bitcoin makes the determination for the rest of the market. So let's just look at this chart and I'll explain further about why I am in a hold pattern. Let's get rid of my handsome face first of all. And as we see here on the 4-hour chart, we've got a second red candle forming. And as you can plainly see, there is a crossover of the stochastic. We are peaked out right there on the stochastic. We have a definite crossover, and we completed the cycle. We stayed flat here, and then we moved all the way up. And notice that after this crossover, we're not forming a higher high. We're still lower than the previous two high points. And now we have to determine whether or not this chart is telling us that we're ready for liftoff. Now, one thing I can point out is that the news doesn't match the action and the predictions that people are putting out there. Why are we thinking that Bitcoin is ready to tear off when we have some of the worst economic news, rate hikes about to happen, still turmoil and uncertainty going on in the Ukraine? Is Russia going to invade? Are they not? Are they bluffing? Are they just doing regular military exercises? We don't know. We still have looming Evergrande FUD. We still have looming Tether FUD. We have every indication to believe that this is not yet the point. And then we also see down here on the bottom with the MACD, what do we notice? We had this big peak area here, and now we're starting to come up, but it looks like we're not forming another high peak on the stochastic. So we stayed up here high in the stochastic here, or rather the MACD histogram is forming a peak here. And we have this light green bar, which indicates a reversal, because this bar is lower than the previous one. Combined with this stochastic peak, it tells me that we might have a cycle down coming up. And so we'll look to see what happens if this stochastic does a complete cycle down here, or if it decides to bounce around and stay up here like we did before in this area. And so when you combine the fact that there's no guarantee that we just hang around and stay up here in the oversold zone with all of the negative news that's going on, I'm going to just wait and watch, because I'm not believing in this just yet. Now, that doesn't mean that we're going to slip into a bear market, because overall we're still in this long upward trend since the low point. Look at this. Overall, we're still moving up, so that's fine. And we're still respecting this ascending baseline. But I'm going to wait and watch, because the other indications that we have on the screen right in front of our eyes are the fact that we're at this current volume node at 44. And then we've got a couple that are down below. If we fall back into this support resistance zone, this big long rectangle, we're looking at volume nodes that are sitting somewhere around 42.5, and then there's another one at about 41.5, and then at the base of the triangle, or at the base of the blue line here, we see that this magically bumps its head right on this volume node here that is lower below. Now, if that doesn't hold and we fall out of the zone, of course, we're going to head back down here towards this 38 range, which is in this support and resistance zone that is just beneath the one that we're currently in. Here it is right here if you can't see it on the chart. That will be the next test. Now, that's the immediate. So for the next few days, it's a wait and watch according to the 4-hour chart. Now, when we move on and look at the 1-day chart, It's a little bit different, but it's not great. We do have this crossover that just happened on the stochastic right there, which says that, okay, this big fat green candle here, these two have changed the direction of the stochastic, where we had the momentum headed downward. But what is with this pump? I don't know. So we were declining here, and you see how we were forming the light green bars on the histogram, and then out of nowhere, here's this big fat dark green one, okay? And we also see that the fast line and the slow line were starting to converge right here. Notice how we're flat here, we're ascending here, which would say there was a crossover coming. But since this recent pump happened, of course, we've got the fast line diverging again and moving up on the indicators there. And these follow the stochastic. It lags behind this one. Now, just as we didn't know on the 4-hour of whether or not we're going to just stay buried out at the top, we don't know if this is going to hold either. Will this bullish crossover hold, or is it going to unfurl and drop down further? Well, with the momentum indicators on the 4-hour saying we're going to move down, there's no guarantee that this crossover is going to hold. Now, if it does, that's great. And then we would, of course, be moving up to this next big volume node up here at 48,000 and maybe moving back above to where the 200 EMA is. Right now, we are below both the 200 exponential moving average and the 50 exponential moving average. So that's not too good of an indication. And while we see on the micro, we've got this whole period here that is a bullish uptrend, when we look overall, that's not quite impressive to me and doesn't give me an indication that we're breaking the overall downward trend on the macro. Let's look at it. Here are the lines that form this parallel downward trending trading zone. Here's the bottom line. We're still in there. So it's not time to celebrate yet. Celebration time for a reversal will be the price going above 48 and breaking through the top of this long downward trending parallel trading zone. So that's what I'm waiting for. And, you know, I've got enough positions in a lot of these alts that I can say that at this point, it's better for me to be cautious and just stay satisfied with what I have and not take a chance, because to me, it's 50-50 on whether or not we jump up and violate this upward boundary of the downward trending trading channel, or if we reverse course and come back down to the point of control price, or worse yet, come back down to this big volume node and revisit these two support and resistance zones from before. Now, the one other thing that I consider is the fact that when everybody is in lockstep saying Bitcoin's going to the moon, something always happens when we get a big reversal, because the exchanges that provide the ability to do leverage trades, when everybody is in lockstep and has long positions on leverage, they'll liquidate those positions and make a ton of money. And it looks like they're setting up for doing that right now. If there's money to be made and they can liquidate the longs, well, by God, they're going to do it. Now, downstairs on the MACD here, let's just kind of clear this out and scrunch this down a little bit so we can see this MACD. We had the overall trend going downwards coming off of this peak, right? And we just kept flopping down here. We had a bullish cross over here and head back up. And again, just like on the 4-hour, we had the fast line looking like it was going to head down and cross over and continue going down south. But we get this green bar on the histogram out of nowhere that has curled this indicator upwards. So this moving oscillator is headed up. Will it hold? I don't know. Now, the other positive is that when we jump to the 1 week, there's two ways that you can look at this. The first way that we can look at this is that we absolutely are still in a complete downward trend. Overall, the average of all of these prices, we're moving downwards. And we can see our parallel trading zone trending down, that we're not above that. But then on a positive note, we can look downstairs in the stochastic and say that we had a bottom and a bullish crossover right there. and the fact that this fast line on the MACD oscillator is curling up while the slow line is headed down. So we might get a bullish crossover there. Will it hold and follow through? I don't know. It's too close for me to call. Now, when we scrunch this down, we can see that this crossover might happen, but what's working against that? The overall trend. Here's a peak here. Here's a lower peak here. And then when we connect the dots for a trend, what is that? Downward momentum. So if we draw this line here, and then let's just say that we extend these oscillators. Here's a possibility. The fast line could curl up and then it could bounce off of this and then continue heading down. We don't have a clear indication that this is it. So we could get a crossover here and we could get another crossover there and we could continue the downtrend. Or if this holds and the momentum continues up, then maybe we see a reversal overall downstairs and we head into a bull market. Now, it's frustrating to sit here in no man's land, but we've seen the 4-hour, we've seen the 1 day, and we see the 1 week. And with everything in this gray area where we have conflicting indications and we have worldwide economic calamity and uncertainty going on, all I can do is sit and wait and watch the party. And most importantly, not believing any of the hype that goes on. Because right now, we're getting optimistic and bullish. And everyone is calling for the bull market. And then when that happens, of course, we can see the opposite come into play and we can move downward. So it's very dangerous to listen to all of the predictions from the big mouths on YouTube and not watch what's happening on this chart and to play it safe and be careful. But when the party starts, I'm going to be ready. And when we hit this next bull market peak, and if we break out of the channel and then form a new higher high where we surpass, see this green line here? That's our absolute indication that we are back in the bull market. When we go above that line, once we cross that line at about what, 65,000, then I could say it's clear skies and we're going to be headed for the next blow off top. What's that price? Maybe 100,000, 120, 130. And then we will absolutely, after that point, go into a distribution phase where price comes down and we're going to have a long period of correction until the next cycle starts. Let's make that in red, as a matter of fact. So if we make it up here, we're going to curl back down, and then our overall trend is still going to be up when we connect the dots from all of the lows. And so once the bull run is over, there was talk even last year stating that after this whole 4-cycle season is done, that the next low point for Bitcoin would be in the 40,000 range. And that is supported by this overall blue trend line. Now, the best advice anybody can get is when you invest for the long term and just put away a little bit at a time and only invest what you can afford to lose, when you wait it out, we're talking years, you're going to win in the long run. But if you want to play the markets and gamble and try to get those quick flips, good luck. I've learned my lesson. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm holding most of my positions long, and after we get to a blow off top, I will take profits because the kids need shoes. I've got college educations to pay for the kids and bills to pay. So we must remember what we're in this for. We're in this for the income and to level up in our financial situations. And that means being smart, being patient, and not always falling for the hype that circulates around the market. Well, that's all I've got for now. Just wanted to give you that quick update and to explain to you why I am in a holding pattern. It should get interesting in the next week, and we'll know exactly what's going to be happening in this market. That's it for now. We'll be back soon, and we might go live. Let me know if you would like a live broadcast in the next couple days. I should be able to do a late night live, and we'll break down all of your favorite altcoins and see what's what. This is Carlton, and I am out.